While I was in Mumbai to give the keynote speech at the World Brand Congress, I had a chance to speak to the event chairman, Mr. Hemant Sachdev, who is also the joint managing director of Microsoft India. We discussed the environment for brands in India, the prospect for new global brands to emerge from the region, and the future of the web among India's 500 million mobile phone customers. Here's what he had to say. What do you see as sort of major themes emerging from this year's Congress?
You know, it's fascinating. For one, I think it's the coming of age of the Indian brand and market environment. Okay, we all talk about this economic condition. I believe it's really an economic reset. It's how we are all going to have to change the way we look, not just at the present, but at the future. And the delightful thing is that it's got people together from every part of the world, sharing ideas and thoughts, failures, successes, things that are going to be very important as we go along. What I'm also really delighted about is the fact that a lot of people came to India for the first time. India is the belly of the world. It's not just a mass market. If you look at it, while China is actually a rich country getting older, India is a young country getting richer. It's the world's largest youth population. So really, I am delighted with the fact that we've had such wonderful minds, including you, to sort of have the privilege and honor of interacting with some wonderful minds. And I believe that that will really benefit the young practitioners who are starting their journey in building their companies, their brands, and their businesses.
What are you thinking about those new brands and the young practitioners in India? What do you see as sort of the opportunities for Indian brands, both in terms of obviously growing with the local domestic audience, but also becoming regional and global brands that are known in other markets as well?
You know, I would break it up. India is like a paradox kind of situation. You have some very mature brands, brands that understand that it's not just advertising that creates leadership in a consumer's mind, or love in a consumer's mind, or innovation in a consumer's mind, or whichever space you want. And then there are brands that are still dependent very heavily on communication. And I believe that this kind of interface will allow people to understand that brands are not just about advertising, but about products, about experiences, about behavior, about process, about investments in research, in insights. That's the kind of bandwidth. Now, once that becomes a cultural thing in India, I strongly believe that India will be the sort of a factory of some brilliant regional and global brands.
It's certainly a region with a great deal of creativity and a legacy of adding so many new ideas to the world. So I guess you see that as sort of part of the purpose of the World Brand Congress is to maybe introduce to more of these practitioners some new paradigms, new ways of thinking about building brands.
There are two things you will find in abundance in India. Okay, one is, as you see what happened in the IT world, which is intellectual bandwidth. The other is a lot of creativity. The one thing that perhaps needs to be strengthened, and which is where the World Brand Congress comes in and speakers like you come in, is it adds process to it. Because that's something that a lot of times in the Indian environment, process has not been naturally strong. When you go into the streets, you'll realize that. When the way people drive, you'll realize that. When you travel by train, you'll realize that. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement. Process is an area that needs to be strengthened, and I believe the World Brand Congress and such events actually bring process into it. So you marry intellectual bandwidth, you marry creative energy, sheer energy with process, and I believe in the next decade you will see some brilliant brands, global brands coming out of India.
That's great. Let me ask one last question. Your own introduction remarks and some of the other speakers at the Congress touched on new technologies, some of the new media, and how they're changing possibilities for customer interactions, customer experiences, and for brands. What do you see happening next in terms of the Indian consumer, the very young population, as you're saying, and sort of adoption of new technologies, mobile web and so forth in the next few years, and how that may shape brands and business here?
We are very excited about the future. What I was trying to say there was that companies, brands, and leaders of the future will anticipate rather than just fulfill or just deliver. And that's the key. From a Microsoft point of view, the 3 screens in the cloud are a delightful set of experiences. You're already seeing a change with Bing and Windows 7 and some very exciting stuff coming. Specifically for India, this has been a mobile-first country. It's a tremendous story. Poster boy of Indian reform, close to 500 million customers and moving forward. But we believe the next wave is going to be the internet as well. Now, partly on the mobile and partly on the PC. That's the exciting interface that I believe is going to be revolutionary and transformational.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Hemant Sachdev, and thanks for a wonderful World Brand Congress.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for the opportunity, and we hope to see you soon back to India.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks.